thank you for the Journalists and Writers Foundation for this kind invitation. Also, thank you to my colleagues, to my peers on this round table, on this panel. Let me try to open the fire with a couple of thoughts that could be presented to you. First, I also want to thank you, everybody here in the room. You are devoting time to work together, to hold a dialogue about how to better protect human rights and how better focus on the situation of refugees and migrants. So this community is really important because you care about what is happening. And we need more people to care. We need more people to look at the real situation and the problem of so many human beings who are suffering, who are challenged by the situation. I remember reading Egidio Reale, a very prominent jurist in Italy, who said that the asylum concept is as old as humanity. And migration is an essential part of the human being. And it's just an instinct of to be alive, to keep going on, to flee from conflict, to protect yourself and your family, to avoid natural disasters, to prevent you and your family from violations of basic human rights. To look for a free refugee in a safe place is a natural reaction. So everybody is looking for the same thing. You're looking for dignity and for the right to have a real life. In English, the right to asylum is more similar to the antique word asylum, which means an available place. So Plutarch also spoke about the life of Solomon, just looking for this safe place. Also, in my own religion, in the Catholic faith, we start the New Testament with this migration of the Holy Family, just looking for a safe place to give birth to Jesus, to the Son of God. So he was also flying for a threat of extermination. And everybody was exterminated at that time, at that place, particular place. He was the one fleeing to Egypt and saving his life. So unfortunately, humanity is still ruled in many places by tyrants. And war is already there. So blood, sweat, and tears is still the rule of life for many people in this world. And every people has a right to look for protection outside of the original country and just avoid the danger. I met in Madrid last week a 36-year-old judge from Aleppo in Syria. And everybody in his family was still back in Aleppo, but he has two daughters, 8 and 6 years old. She's living really in bad conditions in Alicante, in Spain. He has 2 rooms in a cloister, and it's not comfortable. It's not a place for a family. He has been there for almost 2 years, but he's not coming back because he fears about the consequences of the war, and they don't want their daughters to grow up in this environment. So we have plenty of declarations, thanks God, both in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, also in the European legislation, in our national organization, probably in all your countries, you have good laws to protect, to declare the rights of the people to be protected from other countries. But the problem is not always the law, it's how do we implement it. So I think that every state is very clear their duty to protect this asylum right and to look for migrants. At the same time, states are challenged by the fact that this migration, particularly in this moment of history, is really overwhelming and sometimes threatening their welfare. So it's very easy. Everybody just damaged or threat with torture, with cruel threat, with the vulneration of the human rights, has to have a safe haven, a safe place to continue their lives. So we have been looking, everybody has been looking through television first, and then through social media, what happened in Kosovo, what is happening in Afghanistan, in Ukraine, in Azerbaijan, right now in Turkey, in Syria, particularly in Venezuela, in many places. I have been particularly from Spain trying to get involved and being involved, visiting Venezuela and helping many people just flying from their country as refugees in my country. I have been in the last weeks celebrating that we got for the first time 2 Turkish citizens to get asylum in my country, which is to recognize that they're in danger, they are threatening their own country. So we know that migration, illegal migration, is a threat. There is many mafias organizing traffic of human beings and risking lives of migrants. But we have a very overwhelming numbers. In 2017, we got about 68 million people flying from conflict, 25 million refugees, 40 million just moved from their places for war conflicts, and 3.1 petition of asylum, mostly coming from Syria, Palestine, and Afghanistan. So my country, Spain, got last year 31,000 petition of asylum. It's the largest number in our history. It's more than the whole number of petitions that we got between 2007 and 2014. Last year, we got 10,350 petitions of asylum coming from Venezuela, just from Venezuela. We're happy to achieve a few of them protected and getting asylum in our country, but it's not enough. So in Venezuela particularly, we first saw politicians in jail, but then we're all watching a biblical exodus. Thousands, dozens of thousands, hundreds of thousands just fleeing through Colombia, Ecuador, Brazil, everywhere, just looking for a new place and leaving everything behind. Around 1 million people just leave it with just a rucksack and their families, and it's not going to stop. So we know, we have to acknowledge this massive migration of people are impacting socially, economically, security in these countries where we're receiving the people. That's why the international community has to act, just empowering a legal framework to prevent and protect human rights home and avoid the need to asylum. Nobody goes to ask for asylum of their own wish. So we also need to look for preventive decisions and also to establish a more effective sanction system for those systems and tyrants and rulers who are responsible of this violation of human rights. So I don't want to finish before I share with you a few of my personal experiences. First of all, I am the son of Luis and Mari Carmen, who left their hometown in Valencia and went to another place with different language, different culture, different gastronomy, far away in the 60s, where no internet, no easy access to telephone, and no easy ways to communicate and to travel. And they left Spain and they left Alicante and then went to the north of Africa. I was born there. They were just looking for a better place to educate their children and to develop their lives. So I am myself the son of migrants inside the country. But I was successfully accepted, and I grew up first in Ceuta and then in Andalusia. Then when I see other people just moving around, I see myself. When I saw the picture of Aylan, I also see my own children who could be there, who could be lying in a beach. So probably, as you are doing, having the opportunity to participate in this fight for human rights, from helping individuals, helping people from Syria, from Turkey, from Venezuela, from many places in the world, is an opportunity for me to connect to those ideals that I had when I started to study law at the university, to look for justice in the world, to protect individuals, to look for people. I want to finish with a very beautiful sentence that is always in my life of a Swiss poet, Max Frisch. He wrote in the 50s, in the 60s, where many people from South Europe, particularly from my country, from Portugal, from Italy, were migrants to Central Europe, particularly to Germany, looking for better jobs, for better lives, leaving their families, leaving their language, leaving their culture. He said, we were looking for workers, but finally we got people. That's what we are talking about here, about people. Thank you very much.